Go ahead and tell us you went to Washington, D.C. You put a picture of yourself and a woman up on your website. You guys went to Washington, D.C. Why?
Because she asked me to come on up there and give her a hand. Because her child was taken from her. And things just, they just got out of hand for her.
Carl, you got to speak into the phone.
Yeah, like I said, my cell phone's getting real. My cell phone isn't going to be able to, I don't think, handle much tonight. But can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can now. So
yeah,
she was trying to take her kids away? Somebody was... What?
Social services took her kids away. She, what she did is she was bringing one child to daycare and into the daycare building. And she left the other kid outside in the car. And then when she came back, somebody reported that she left the kid in the car. Which sounds kind of silly. I mean, it wasn't like she was doing drugs or
abandoning the child.
Right, or drinking, or right. She went to a bar and left the kid, or went into the grocery store. No, she dropped one kid off at the front of the school and, left a brand new baby in the car. Somebody, I guess, figured she has to take both kids out of the car to walk one kid to day school. I don't know. But whatever, it got snowballed, and most people don't appreciate when, I guess, somebody comes around and says to them, we have a report of neglect, or she probably just got a little, like, full of people that probably go F off.
Yeah,
and they probably didn't appreciate that, so they took the kids, and she went and took the kid back, and she told the lawyer, don't bother looking for him. It's not kidnapped. I got the kid. So then, obviously, the lawyer called up the police, and the police came and took the kid back from her. So things just got out of hand, I guess. So she gave me a call, I guess, now that the child was being put up for adoption. And kind of late in the game to give me a call, but I guess it took for a while to find me. Because she's got money. They're not poor. She drives a brand new, like a SUV, minivan kind of thing, and the family lives in the Beltway, inside the D.C. Beltway, so anybody knows that any house in that D.C. Beltway goes for at least, $500,000-$600,000. They're not poor people. She's got a job. And so that's kind of interesting that, she's a black lady, and she's got a job and got money, and they're still doing this to her. So,
I don't think they care what color you are or whether you've got money or not. If they can make a buck
I think
off
if you're rich,
kid.
I don't think if you're a rich white woman, I've never really seen a rich white woman in family court trying to get her child back. I've never seen that. I've seen, 90% of the women I see are black women. So, like I said, I don't think it seems to matter then if it's how much money they have. And like I said, the social workers that are doing it to her are also black. So it didn't make any sense to me. I said to her, does it make any sense to you? I said, yeah, you got a good family, you got a good mom who came here, you got a sister who comes to court with you. You got a beautiful house here in D.C., and it just doesn't make any sense why they're doing what they're doing to you. And it's just ridiculous. I mean, nice little lady. I mean, if you see you go to my website, I'll tell my name on my website just because people might not have it on the radio, but it's broadmind.org. And if you go to the home page, I think that's the second picture on the web page now.
Broadmind.org.
Yes, just click on it. You can see the picture of the lady standing next to me.
Quick.
And
it says here she is holding the proof in her hands, and we are going to restore her property. So what happened?
Well, it was a lot of fun because she had to go up there for the family court, obviously, put the child up for adoption. So she appealed it before she met me, which was fine. It just slows it down a little bit. But obviously she's going to lose.
She was probably frantic, afraid she was going to lose her kids. Jeez.
Yeah. But like I said, the one good thing is that she she filed an appeal. But obviously, like I said, she was going to. They take when you file an appeal, say from family court. Sometimes they just take it over to circuit court. They don't take it all the way to the Court of Appeals. They just take it over to circuit court, the next court up, like a real court. And the real court just takes a look at what family court did, what the family court prosecutors did, and they say, no, they followed the rules. They're in full compliance with all of the rules. So the adoption's going to proceed. So I knew that's what they were going to say. There's nothing else.
Is that what they did?
Well, of course. There's nothing else they can say. That's exactly what they have to say. That's what I told the lady before I even got there. I said, don't even think that family court is not abiding by the rules of how a child needs to be placed up for adoption. They have like a scorecard, a score sheet. They have a plan. It's like 6 to 9 months, this has to happen. The next 6 to 9 months, this happens. The next 6 to 12 months, this happens. They followed exactly according to the game plan.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And they're in full compliance with their game plan. They haven't done anything out of step. They've done everything perfect. So, of course, when you appeal it, what are you appealing? That they're not doing it according to their plan? Of course they're doing it to their plan. They've done it exactly perfect to their plan. So what are you appealing? You're wasting your time. But that's okay because it just slows everything down. And so obviously the judge said, no, I don't see anything wrong with what they've done so far. Everything's been going according to plan. You know, your child's going to be adopted out from under you. That's their plan. It's going that way. It's going pretty good. So before we got there, though, I said to her, you have to, she should have, but she didn't know me 21 days ago to do this. And she was trying to, maybe she did know me 21 days ago. But whatever, there's no way in the world she could have done what I did. So she tried to write her own claim. She tried to establish her own court. And she was sending me paperwork, and I was sending her, correcting it. And I said, this is going nowhere. This lady has no clue what I'm doing. So I said to myself, you know what? I said to her, look, if it rains out, I'll drive on up there. I said, I'll take some time away from this farm. I really can't afford to get away from here. I'm so busy. But I said, if it's a rainy day, I'll make an excuse to go see you. So she got lucky. It was a cold, wet, rainy day. And I said, oh, well, you know what? This gives me an excuse to stay dry. I'll go in the car, take a 4-hour ride, go see this lady up in court. So she wrote some stuff, and she sent it to me. I said, that's ridiculous. I said, she was trying to get help from other people who listened to this call, and it was just silly. So when I got
what was silly?
It was just silly. The paperwork. It was like notice and claims and lawsuits and notice of claims. It was just ridiculous. So I just said to her, just stop. You're just wasting my time. I said, I'll see you when I get up there. So when I got up there, we met at the Starbucks, and if it took me 7 minutes to establish a court and write a claim, that would have been a long time. But we did it real fast. I said, here, just give me paper. And it was funny. She knew that. We just used a scrap piece of paper of something. It was funny. I would do this a lot, right on the back of a napkin at a restaurant and say, that's all you have to do. All your credit cards are going to be taken care of. And people looked at me when I write on the back of a napkin. I said, that's all you got to do. And all the credit card debt goes away. And they go, holy cow, that was easy. I was like, well, it's kind of easy. But, if they push you on it, you better know how to answer them. So I wrote it out for her real quick, what she needed to do. And she went to the courthouse. It was hysterical, man. She had to be at court at 2 o'clock. I think we got there at 2:45 because she missed the off-ramp. The off-ramp was closed. I was talking to Gus the whole way, laughing my ass off, saying, I'd be in court, 9 o'clock in the morning if I had to be there at 2 in the afternoon if my kid's being adopted out. This lady's funny. I said, we're here, we're pulling into the parking lot at 2:45, and she's driving around for another 20 minutes looking for a parking spot. I said, she better hope there's a lot of other cases before her, and there was, so she got lucky. She was the last case called. I guess they seen that she was putting some crazy Iron Woman stuff in. They let her go last. So what was fun is that I had established her court. You know, her name is Molinera or something like that. Moola, like Aneer, some crazy name like Molinera. So we established a court, you know, the Molinera court, at the district court, you know, up there in Washington, D.C. So obviously the clerk of the court didn't appreciate that. You know, I was like, no, I don't think so. So obviously I said to her, I said, look, we're already going to have this problem. I said, I know what we're going to run into. It happens all the time. I said, what we're going to do is we're going to go call up their boss at the Capitol, at the state Capitol. And we're going to have their boss, like on speed dial, like number 1, number 2. We're going to hit the number, poof, and call up their boss. And we're going to call up their boss before we get there. And we're going to tell their boss, you know, we're going to have a problem filing a claim into a courthouse. We have a problem.
Who? Wait a minute. Who's boss?
Their boss, the court clerk's boss, the clerk of the court.
Who's the clerk of the court's boss?
That's right. So we call up the court.
Who is the boss of the clerk of the court?
Yeah, it depends. I ain't going to give you guys too many answers.
You're not going to answer my question.
No, I'm not going to do that. Make you guys do some research. So we call them up and we make sure that they know that we're probably going to have to call them back in 20, 30 minutes. So what was funny is obviously the clerk of the court gave her a hard time. So obviously I told her we go now to the building manager or to the court clerk. Not the clerk of the court, but the court clerk. The top guy or the top lady, the clerks. Because the lady at the window is just a clerk of the court. The court clerk is the court clerk. That's the top clerk. So the court clerk was a Mexican. And she just, the lawyer started coming in, so she talked to the guy, said, come here, let me tell you something. And she just whispered at him, like, look, don't, I'm having a problem with this court clerk over here, and I don't want too many people to hear this, but if you folks give me a hard time filing this claim into this courthouse today, I'm going to call your boss, and he's going to tell you that you've got to let me file my claim. So why don't you just let me file my claim so I don't have to call your boss and have your boss tell you to do your job? So he said, okay. You're like, yeah, no problem, lady. You're like, go ahead. You know, tell the court clerk, you know, clerk of the court, you know, take your paperwork. So she paid her $134 for this hour. So now she's got her court inside of that courthouse. So that's pretty amazing. You know, that it's the Molinera court at that courthouse, not in that court, at that courthouse. So she says, now what can we do? I said, oh, now we're going to have a lot of fun. I said, now we're going to go to the man who's acting as a governor. It was the day before Veterans Day, so I guess I was there Tuesday. And Wednesday was Veterans Day. I don't remember. Don't care. It was a couple of days ago. I said, when he's open for business again, the day after Veterans Day, I said, go knock on their door and just say you require him as the head chief public servant here of this Commonwealth, this state, to return your property that his subordinates have, you know, your property in their possession, and you require him to inform his subordinates to give it back. And he's going to just smile at you and pat you on the head and say, yeah, you're cute, goodbye. And then you just take his name. And then you go over to the Attorney General's office and you take his name or her name. And I said, you go to the head of the social services and you knock on the door and they pat you on the head and they tell you to go play. And you take their name. Because now you've got your court. So now that you got your court, all you're doing is going around getting names of this man who acts as the social service director, this man who acts as the attorney general, this man who acts as the governor. And you're going to have them all summoned to your court and ask your public servants who acts as all these people who are acting as public servants, why they didn't serve the public and why they didn't return the property. And why, when you call them out man to man, did they not hear the words of their fellow man? Because this is a Judeo-Christian land, and yes, you are your brother's keeper. Like if somebody pulls up in front of your house and their car's on fire, and you're watering your lawn, they say, can you give me the hose? I was like, no, I just want to take YouTube videos and watch your car burn. Well, you could get sued from the person whose car is getting burned down to the ground because you are your brother's keeper in this country, and you do have a good neighbor policy, and you are supposed to be a good Samaritan, and you are supposed to help. There's a lot of states that actually has that as a law, that you could actually get arrested for not helping somebody when they need help. And you just sit there with a YouTube video, a cell phone, and start taking YouTube videos for them. That's you go to jail for that in some states. So it's very serious, this Christian land, this Judeo-Christian belief. This is, but most people don't realize that we're a Judeo-Christian land. They just think, hey, you know what? I don't got to do a damn thing. You know, Mommy told me I don't have to do anything. I'm special. So most people don't realize that law. So especially if the man is a governor, if the man is acting as an attorney general, they definitely should know this law. That this lady said, hey, I've been robbed. I've been stolen from. There's been a theft. Help. They got to help. I said, oh, yeah, what's even more funny, I said, go to the sheriff's department. I said, he's really going to get a kick out of you when you say, hey, you know, I require the immediate return of my property, you know, and then you tell them. I said, don't talk to a desk sergeant. Don't talk to a deputy. Make an appointment if you have to talk to the sheriff of the county. I said, make an appointment. Say he's a public servant and you require an audience with him. And I said, you talk to him directly. You say to him, there's been a theft, and I require you to do your job and restore my property. And he says, well, there's a court order. So I don't care what the order says of any court. I'm a woman, and you return my property. Go get it for me. So I don't care what any order of a court says. Court doesn't speak. He said, you let me know if a man created that order, because I'm telling you, no man created that order. If a court created it, that's ridiculous. It's like a pine cone creating something. You're going to listen to a pine cone, you're going to listen to me. Then he's going to pat you on the head and tell you, yeah, have a nice day, go play. And I said, you put his name down, too. And you get them all for the Good Samaritan law. That they all had the ability to help, yet they all turned their back and let you, you know, endure what you're going through. I said, this is going to be a lot of fun. Because there's no way in the world anybody could tell you can't summon these people to appear. I said, well, it's a lot of fun right now. All she had on a piece of paper was the name of the social worker who knew whether her property lied, and the head of social services. But see, she didn't put that down as the wrongdoers, the defendants. She didn't put down social worker lady. She did not put down Susie Cupcake, CPS director. She didn't do that. She just wrote Susie Cupcake and Mary Lou, whatever. That's it. So it was good because the court clerks never seen it coming. You know, it's just very simple. I said, get rid of all the silly borders on the paper, get rid of all the silly fingerprints that you put on these things. I said, get rid of all these silly eye on woman stuff. Just make it plain Jane as possible, so we could sneak it in there, and they don't even realize that the people who are summoning, that the deputies are going to go around and handing them subpoenas and summonses to appear, are going to be in the Molinera court at the district court. I said, that's a kick in the head, because when they did it up in Canada, as soon as the folks up in Canada, Jesse and Jonathan, as soon as Jesse put her paperwork in, the court clerk immediately saw the first word was in, and she put a huge circle around it, crossed it out, and she wrote the word at. I actually have a copy of what that lady did to Jesse's, claim. You can't touch somebody else's claim. That's like altering a United States government document. You can't alter somebody's paperwork. So somebody called me up the other day and they said, well, I'm filling out a passport and I'm crossing out all these things and I'm putting all these things instead. I said, you can't alter somebody else's document. I said, you just let their document sit the way it's laid the way it is. I said, you want to create a different document, you do. I said, but you don't modify somebody else's document. Not without their consent. I said, that's ridiculous. I said, just because you're changing a federal document or an IRS document, it's ridiculous, because the other side has got to consent to the agreed changes. You can't just say, well, I'm going to cross this out and I'm going to write this instead. That's ridiculous. It'll never hold up in court. So I said to her, we're just going to, I was saying about that in and out with Jesse's paperwork. I couldn't believe the court clerk did that. And as soon as I saw that the court clerk did that, I wrote a hell of a lot of to the judge because they weren't going to let our court into that courthouse. And I wrote a hell of a letter. You know, Jesse and Jonathan read it on their show about 2 years ago now. And, man, I was a little upset that the court clerk and the head judge said, no, the court can't come into this courthouse. So the letter, I think, basically just read, well, that's fine that you won't, you're interfering with our right to access this courthouse with our court. I guess we'll have to use another public facility. Do you recommend the library or the town hall, or do you recommend the town bingo hall? You know, where do you recommend that we hold court if we can't bring our court to this public courthouse? We're members of the public, but if we can't use this courthouse, where would you suggest? Something like that. It was funny, you know, but it got to the point. Like, you know, you're blocking a court from going into a courthouse. Oh, that's special. And how do you propose you're going to do that? How do you propose that's a lawful approach to say, no, you can't bring a court into the courthouse? Really? That doesn't make too much sense. You know, like a library. Like, well, I'm going to bring these library books back to the public library. No, you can't come in here. Well, how am I going to access this public library if you won't let me in? I need to use some library books. Well, you can't come here. Really? So where do you recommend I go pick up the library books if you won't let me come in the library? Are you going to meet me down in the 7-Eleven, or, you know, want to meet me at Starbucks? How am I going to access these library books? So you can't deny somebody access to a public building. That's ridiculous. So, like I said, she got it in, and she has the receipt. And so I took pictures of the receipt, because the receipt to me is more important than the actual court that she established and the claim she established. The actual receipt proves that the court clerk accepted the money, and now the court clerk will be working for her. And like I said, she only had 2 people on a claim. I said to her, I said, oh boy, I said, this is going to be fun. So she said, what? I said, you could put 10, 20, 100, 200 people down on a claim now. I said, you paid your $130, go get 100, 200 people summons to appear. Go ask everybody to help you bring back the kid. They're all going to spat you on the head and tell you, no, I'm not going to help. And just put everybody down. She said, everybody? I said, everybody. Just put everybody down. And the court clerk now, she's going to have to get the deputy, and deputies are going to be going all around the D.C. area, you know, and they're going to be handing out paperwork telling people to appear in the Molinero court. If you're going to say the Molinero court, what the hell is mean divorce court, motor vehicles, traffic court? What? I never heard of the Molinero court. It's like, well, they sure will. And I'm telling you, she's the only woman that I've ever done this for in the United States, and I guarantee she's probably the first woman in the history of the United States to have her own court. I can't imagine anybody else, any other woman that I could possibly read about that established her own court inside of a public courthouse. You know, I don't think they would teach a woman how to do that. So, because it could get pretty ugly pretty quick, because she would hold people in contempt, and it could get pretty ugly for the other side. When they don't show up, she could have them brought to court, whether they want to be there or not. So it's going to get interesting.
What happens next?
So now I told you what's happening next. She's got to go around and she's got to go get names.
Okay.
To make the claim against. She's got to go ask all these people for help. And all these people are going to pat her on the head and tell her to go play with herself.
So this is unusual, right? This isn't normally what happens, right?
Of course not. No woman has ever had a court in the United States.
Well, what about the woman in New Mexico? You told her to go tell them to return her property, and they did it.
That's right.
Did she have to do everything
that wasn't
that this
her court. So she didn't have her own court. She didn't have her own court. That lady in New Mexico didn't have her own court.
Okay, but she was able to get in there and tell them to return her property, right?
That's right. That's right. And it wasn't her that said it. It was the prosecutor who did. The prosecutor was the one who said to the court, look at this notice. Look at this ridiculous notice. Yeah, let me read this ridiculous notice out to the court.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one who opened Pandora's box, not her. He's the one who uttered the magic words, not her. He's the one who said, look, she didn't do She didn't do anger management. She hasn't done the AA classes. She still has felony charges against her for fighting with the police, for being drunk in public. And look, this is all she's done in 4 months. Look at this. I'm Maria Sanchez, Santiago, Santiago, and the longer trespass, robbery, requiring me to return a property. I'll charge you $1 a second until the possession turns to my, the property returns to my possession. And the judge just said, you really going to charge us $1 a second? And she's like, si, senor. And then the judge said to the prosecutor, well, the law, return her property. And the prosecutor's like, what? The judge said, you know the law. You have to return a property. You just said the property was stolen. You got to give it back. And the judge said that, and the prosecutor said, that's ridiculous. And the judge said, no, you're the one who said it.
Okay, so what was the difference between that court and this other court in D.C.? I mean,
the court in D.C. was the family court. The family court in D.C., when she went to court and she said, you have to return my property, they just patted her on the head. And they just laughed on her. And she said, oh, yeah, your property. Yes, ma'am. Uh-huh. The only problem is we don't recognize the word property, and we don't understand the word man or woman in this court. So you're talking gibberish. We have no clue what you just said. So she didn't hold him liable as a man. She's just talking to a judge, and the judge does not hear the word man. The judge does not understand the word property. He doesn't understand it. He's like, property? I don't know what you're talking about.
But they did in the other court in New Mexico.
The prosecuting attorney was the one who made the notice that there was a robbery. He was the one who said the word. He said property was stolen. He said a woman. He said those words. The judge ain't going to say the word property in family court. Mm-hmm. The prosecutor's not going to use the word property. He's going to use the word child or infant or minor or whatever, but they're not going to use
I was under the impression that you told her to go into that court and tell them that she required them to return her property.
The Mexican lady?
Yeah.
The Mexican lady and her husband had a public defender, and the public defender said that's ridiculous. He says, I'm not going to waste my time saying that. He said, if you're going to say something like that, you should have said it a long time ago. The time for that has long been past. So the public defender said, there's no way I'm saying that in court for you. So then the prosecutor did. The prosecutor was making fun of them.
I'm confused.
The prosecutor was making fun of her. The judge said, has this lady done anything to be into any compliance with what this family court ordered her to do 3 months ago? Has she done family classes? Has she done anger management? Has she done drug assessments? Has she done AA classes? Has she taken care of the criminal charges against her? And the prosecutor said no. As a matter of fact, has she not only not done anything this court has ordered her to do? This is all she's done. This is the whole entire answer. That this is the whole entire defense she has for everything. The whole thing. I'm Maria Santiago. I claim the long trespass to exhibit a robbery. I require immediate restoration of property. I'll charge $1 a second until the property is restored. That's a whole answer to this court. And then the judge looked at her and said, are you really going to charge us $1 a second? She said, si, senor. And then the judge said, then return her property. The prosecutor is the one who said to the woman, it's been robbed. The prosecutor is the one who said, restoration of the property. Her public defender wasn't going to do that for her. He said, hell no, I'm not saying that. So, like I said, they were mocking her. The social service people were mocking her, laughing at her, saying, look what she's asking for. Look what she's saying. That she's a woman and her property's been robbed. Oh, isn't this funny? The judge said, that's not funny. You stupid clown. You're the one who just uttered those words, and gee, guess what? I got to do something about it. So, gee, isn't that special? But like I said,
because the prosecutor brought it up, then the judge had to act on it?
Yeah, because what happens when you just go to court, you go into their court, their court, their court, their court, their court, and their court. I've been saying this like a parrot for 10,000 years now to you people. When you walk into their court and you say the word man, they look around like, because you just said, doko ikimasu ka. That's what you just said. You just said doko ikimasu ka. Now, if Japanese people listening to me on the show, they know exactly what I just said. But you have no clue when I say doki ikimasu ka. So when you say, I'm a man, and I claim wrong, or I claim a trespass, they look at you like you said, what the hell is I'm a man trespass? What? You're in the wrong court, asshole. What? This is legalese. This isn't Japanese court. This is legalese court. Did you say dokurikimasu? You say, I'm a man and I claim a trespass. We don't know what I am man and claim a trespass. So, you want a psychological evaluation clause. What's this I am man claim the wrong of what? What the hell is I dokurikimasu? Honbun wa genki desu ka? What the hell are you going on about? Well, this is not Japanese. This is legalese. What the hell are you crazy? What's your crazy language you're saying? So when you're going into their court, into their legal land, the legalese, and you're Chinese and you're speaking Japanese, or Japanese speaking Chinese, they're looking at you like, what? You're not. They don't have to answer you. You're not speaking legalese. You have to speak legalese in their court.
But
right. It isn't all right. It isn't all right because this is the 10,000th time I've told you. You can't speak anything than legalese in their legal proceeding. You can't talk like a man in their legal proceeding. You can't do it. They can't hear it. They can't see it. They can't understand it.
Well, then why did you tell her to go into that court and ask for them to return her property?
No, she established her own court. So when she went into, who said I told her to go into their court?
In New Mexico.
No, the lady in New Mexico, she put a notice into the court. Okay, she didn't state anything in court. She put a notice in. She was writing it directly to the man or any woman on planet Earth. That's what the notice is. Any man, hear ye, hear ye. Any man or woman on planet Earth knows where my property is. I've been robbed, and I require you, my fellow man, to return my property. If you know where my property is, give it back. Okay, that's a notice. Okay? Not a judicial notice. Not a notice to that court. It's a notice. See, that's what's funny. I got this great, big, huge notice board that I picked up at an auction for like $15. A big bulletin board. An old-fashioned antique notice board. And that's what notice boards used to be. You used to go down to town hall, and you would take somebody would write you out, like say you owed me $20, and I couldn't find you. And I'd say, okay, Angela owes me $20. This is a bill, a $20 bill. And that's exactly what it is. It's a $20 bill. It's a debt note. Okay? A $20 bill is a debt note. Everybody knows a $20 bill is a debt note. So I'd get a bill from, I'd have an Angela saying, I owe Karl Lentz, I owe you $20. And that's a $20 bill. And then I'd take it down to the court clerk and I'd say, you know what, town clerk. And I'd say, hey, town clerk. Yeah, I haven't been able to find Angela. Anybody see Angela in town lately? No, I ain't seen her. Okay, well, she owes me $20. Well, I haven't been able to collect on this lady. So you know what? You mind if I put it up there on a notice board, up on a bulletin board, up on a billboard? It's a big billboard, it's a big notice board. Can you put it up there for me? So I got one of these big old-fashioned billboards. I got one of these big old-fashioned notice boards sitting in my living room right now. It's a big, solid wood, like cherry wood bull, and it's got this great huge piece of glass and a lock on it. So the county clerk would open up the bulletin board or the billboard or the notice board, and she'd stick it on, and she'd lock it up. So everybody who'd come through town would look at the notice board or look at the billboard and say, who owes who money this week? Oh, look, Angela Stark owes Karl Lentz $20. Well, if we see her coming through town and she wants to owe us $10 or $20, you know what? We're not going to let her borrow it. Why? Because she's got bad credit. Why? Because right here, she ain't paid Karl Lentz $20. So people are going to come through town, and Angela's going to come through town eventually and say, hey, why won't you let me borrow $50? Well, we looked up in the billboard, and you owe Karl $20 still. You got a bill. Really? And they're like, oh, man. And so then what you would do is, if you can't find me, you'd go to the court clerk or the county clerk, and you say, hey, here's $20. Give this to Karl when you see him, but take that damn, bill off that billboard and give me that bill. So what,
did she put her notice up on a billboard? Is that what you're saying?
That it is. When you give a notice, you're giving it to the world.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That's what a newspaper is supposed to do. You got a notice section, okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're supposed to put your notice in the newspaper. You could be the most stupidest bullshit newspaper in the world, but you put it into circulation. And they still do that. Let you listen to me, okay? You're not listening.
I'm listening, but you get carried away.
No, you get carried away asking questions when I'm talking. It's very simple. When social services, and anybody who's ever dealt with social services will tell you the fact, if you go into a case file that social services created to take your child and put it up for adoption, or take your child and find out who the daddy is, you will see in that case file notices that they put in the local newspaper say if there's anybody who's making a claim for this child to make themselves known to the court, because this child is going to be placed up for adoption. They did that with my children. If you look into the case file, you'll actually see in the legal notice section of the newspapers, notice that this child is going to be placed up for adoption. If anybody wants to come and make a claim for this kid, come and make that claim known to the court by this date. They still do it. The government still uses legal notices to say when they're getting rid of your kids or your property. They still use legal notices. I don't use legal notices. I just make a flat-out notice. I just say notice to the world. And a notice to the world is where you go to the county and you just stick a notice on the bulletin board. Do I do all that silly nonsense? No. Why? Because not a damn person reads legal notices in newspapers anymore. Not a damn person goes down to the county and reads the notice board. I'm not wasting my time, your time, or your listeners' time. But when I put a notice into the court, and I have the court clerk read it, I have the court judge read it, I have the prosecutor read it, I have the other side read it, they know exactly what the hell I'm doing. Now, if you want to waste your money and put it in a local newspaper, go ahead and say, well, look, I put it in the Kalamazoo Gazette, and since nobody answered it, it stands as true. And go ahead and do a Dean Clifford thing and say, well, since nobody rebutted the presumption, it stands as true. Oh, bullshit. It ain't going to fly. You hand that man some paperwork directly, say, hey, Bob, I'm giving you a notice. Have you noticed where my child is? You notice where my property is? You know where my car is? Have you noticed that you have any idea where it might be? You know, if you know where it is, you know you got to give it back, right? You know you got to help to get it back. That's my property. You do know that, right, Bob? Have a nice day, Bob. So when I write letters and I put notices in, I'm making it to that man and that woman directly. I'm just not ringing a bell, walking down the street, saying, hear ye, all, to take notice that my child has been taken. If anybody, I'm not going to do that. That's ridiculous. Nobody gives a shit about that. And you got a freak and you're a clown and you're sideshow. That's like a California thing. It's ridiculous. It ain't going to work. So I just do things that I know works. I'm going to talk to that man directly who knows exactly where my car is. I'm not going to put a notice up on a billboard in the middle of the county square, 300 miles from this guy, when I know he knows exactly what the hell I'm talking about. I said, look, I'm going to give you a notice. I'm telling you right now, I better get that property back. Back in 15 minutes. So I don't get it back in 15 minutes, the clock's going to start ticking. You could use and enjoy that property, but it's going to cost you. And that's the way I do it. Now, if you want to do those silly notices, I was telling you how it was done 200, 300, 500, 700, 900 years ago. That's how you took care of a bill. So then when you paid your $20 to that court clerk lady or the county recorder lady or the county whatever lady she was, or province lady she was, who was ever in charge of that big piece of glass that put all those bills on that billboard, you gave her the $20. And she would give you back your $20 bill. And you'd take your $20 bill and you would destroy it. You wouldn't take your $20 bill and put it in your pocket, because if you were walking home and it fell out of your pocket and Susie Cupcake found your $20 bill and says, I, Angela Stark, owe you $20, she'd take it to the court clerk and she'd say, hey, put this on the billboard. It's like, what? Angela owes you $20 now too? Yep, she owes me $20 too. And you say, hey, wait a second, how'd that bill get back on the board? Oh, I guess it must have fell out of your pocket. It's a debt note. You're supposed to destroy it. It's the same thing when I said, don't you people remember mortgage burning parties? When people paid off their mortgage, they would take the mortgage note and they would burn it so nobody else could find it laying around and say, oh, you owe me $200,000 on a house. No, you destroy that damn note. You destroy that damn $20 bill. You're not supposed to keep it in your pocket. It's a debt note. See, that's what's funny nowadays. People are like, oh, wow, $20 bill. Woohoo. I found a $100 bill. Yeah, that's right. Like now the U.S. government is supposed to owe you, the bearer of that note, $100. And it used to be $100 in silver, $100 in gold. Just come up to the United States government, financial institution in your local whatever community, and we'll pay you in silver or gold for that note. We'll take that note back. Thank you. Then they'll put it back in circulation if they feel like it, or destroy it. But that's what a note is, and that's what a bill is. So that's what I'm trying to explain to people, bills and notes, and you're just worrying about one specific lady going to court in D.C., which I only met her for the very first time on Tuesday for about 7 minutes at Starbucks before we had to go into a court.
You brought it up.
Huh?
You brought it up.
Brought what up?
The lady in D.C. You were talking
That's
about
right.
how
All right,
you met her up
listen
with
to
her.
the story. I met her for about 7 minutes before she had to go to court because she was so late. So I had to write for her claim. I had to create her court, her claim. In about 6 or 7 minutes, I said, there you go, lady. There's your court. There's your claim. Go get a receipt from the court, clerk of the court. As soon as you get the receipt, take your receipt, stick it on the top of the claim, hand it when you walk into the family court bullshit today, hand it to them. Then they're going to say, what's this receipt for? I say, well, look under the receipt. The receipt is the important thing, not the claim. Hell with the claim. Who cares? The claim looks like gibberish. The claim looks like a total joke. But when they see that receipt, they'll say, huh, she paid a receipt. She filed a suit. She filed a case into this courthouse. Huh. And then when they flip it over, they're going to look at this gibberish that I wrote. They're going to look at it. And they're like, the Molinera court at the district court. Oh, that's so cute. Who cares? It's going to take them a day or two to realize what the hell just happened. And when that court clerk gets found out what he did, I can't imagine him being a court clerk for much longer. That he actually allowed a man or a woman to establish a court in a courthouse in the United States, which is unheard of. To get a court in a courthouse, that's ridiculous. You'll never get a court. Definitely you'll never get a court in a courthouse. They ain't never going to let you through. It ain't going to happen. They're going to be watching way too close. And like I said, she got lucky because they've never seen nothing like that. They're like, but she had her game plan already figured out. I said, look, we're already going to talk to her boss. When her boss, the head boss of the state, when we call them up, wait until we whisper in that guy's ear, if you don't let me file my case into this public courthouse, and you interfere in my right to access this public courthouse, I'll have your boss explain it to you. You better do your job. Because I already had to sue a court clerk for denying me access to the public courthouse. And the Attorney General had to do a nice little three-way phone call, explain how to do a damn job.
Really?
No, I'm lying. Of course. So like I said, you call the governor's office, you talk to the Attorney General, and then you say, I'm going down to the courthouse. You say, you're not a problem, Mr. Lentz. Oh, they knew me, but I could call the governor's office in Alabama, and I'd say, hey, is Steve in? And that was one of his attorneys. He's like, hang on, Mr. Lentz. He's like, how you doing, Mr. Lentz? Yeah, we're doing pretty good up here in Virginia. How's it going in Alabama? So when you get to talk to the governor of California, and you call up their office, say, oh, hey, Angela, how's it going? Then you know you've made a lot of phone calls, and you know you've knocked on their door a lot of times. When they recognize who you are instantly, they say, oh, not him. Oh, my God, not this guy. And they're very nice to me, and they're very polite to me, and I'm very polite to them. But like I said, that lady, you're going to have to go knock on doors. You're going to have to get in their face. You're going to have to go, see them in a, public restaurant, or meet them out in a parking lot, or go into a public restroom and catch them. Whatever it takes, you got to make FaceTime with these people. You got to say, you folks have my property, and you folks are going to have to give it back. And they all know who I am. They're like, oh yeah, we know who this guy is. We see him coming. Yeah, because I was serious about it. That's my property. You're going to give it back. And I had no intention on giving it back. So like I said, you could do it violently, or you could just do it with paper. And I did it with paper. I did it with a lot of FaceTime, too, a lot of phone calls, a lot of FaceTime. I'd go down to the Capitol, and I'd be knocking on doors. And they'd say, yeah, we heard you were coming. We heard you just over the governor's office. Yeah, now you're over to the Attorney General's office. Yeah, now we figured you'd come down over here, too. Oh, yeah, making my rounds. Thank God the state capitol, all the buildings are real close together. Thank God I don't really have to, park at one spot, hit all these buildings at the same time. Oh, yeah. I made my rounds. People are like, oh, here he comes. Yep, we were warned. Here he comes. We figured you were going to come down here next. Come down to the finance department. Yeah, that's right. How can I file a claim down here? Yeah, you took my property. Yeah, one of your agents down to my property. Yeah. Like I said, it's a lot of fun. Once you start realizing, how the game is played, you just go around from, one agency to another agency to another agent, and you say, hey, I heard you're the man who's acting as the risk manager. Yeah, how you doing? Yeah, I heard you're the man who's running the court down here. Yeah, I heard you're the billings manager. Yeah, I'm interfering. Somebody's interfering with your right to access this court. Yeah, absolutely. How are we gonna work this? How are we gonna get me into that public billing? So it's a lot of fun. But you can't do it with an attitude. You got to do it with, like, smiling and laughing. It's like, they say, yep, here he comes. Yeah, we heard you in town. Oh, really? You miss me? Yeah. No, not really. Yeah, I don't miss you guys either, but we got to get this done sometime.